What is going on, everybody? We are back at it once again. It's Girth, Wind, and Fire, everybody's second favorite TSM fan podcast after the defunct Just Tilt 'em. So,
yeah.
we're the spiritual successor. And it's an interesting time to be a TSM fan in 2020, the year of our Lord, because week one of the spring split is over, Keith. And
Yeah. It kind of feels like it has the last 2 years, so I don't really feel too different.
It's like nothing changed. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and break down in the first. Let's just go game by game, and then we'll kind of zoom out a little bit and kind of discuss what we think as a whole here. So let's go to this first one, this absolute debacle that took over an hour to end.
Yeah, well, the problem is both games were so similar that I could almost believe that they were the same game. Like, it's tough to almost differentiate them because they were both very much like hella good early game, and then mid game we just forgot to play League of Legends. Like, somebody just unplugged Dardoch's monitor, and we just kind of played from there, and he just had to guess.
Exactly.
So it just, I don't know, but with Immortals. I think one of the bigger problems with that game, outside of our horrible macro, was that BB just didn't play a good Rumble. Like, it was not a good Rumble. It wasn't good.
Yeah, I completely agree. It was kind of hard to watch.
Yeah.
Ultis were just all over the place.
Oh yeah.
In general,
except for under the enemy. So they were everywhere else.
Exactly, dude. It's that was never a pick that we were comfortable with him on, right? So it's like,
no, but it's a meta pick. So at this point, I have to assume that he's been practicing to some extent with it. And other than the ults, his Rumble actually wasn't horrible. Like, his laning was fine. Like,
sure,
how he plays and positions Rumble was okay. It's just his ults were so bad. And I don't know if that's because, like, there's essentially two ways to play a good Rumble with good Rumble ults. Is either have a good team that sets up the team fight so well that you just have to ult on top and then just kind of like lay back in your home free.
Let the damage roll in, baby.
Oh, yeah. Or you're like a Huni who starts the fight with the ult and your team capitalizes on the chaos. And so the ult's not really doing the damage as much as it's putting the enemy team in a really bad position. So the problem is we did neither of those.
Exactly. We did neither of those, and we drafted for neither of those, is the thing.
Yes, exactly.
Right?
Yeah, so
Our draft, as it has in the past, has left a lot to be desired. And I think that, obviously it's going to improve over time. I don't want to say that 100% because, we've had splits where we've been sitting here week after week like, oh, the draft's going to get better this week. The draft's going to get better this week, and it just doesn't.
And we sit there at like 4th to 5th place.
Yeah, just kind of hanging out.
In terms of strength.
We're almost exactly
pretending like we're first.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're almost exactly 500 on the season. Stuff like that. So the draft is concerning, more so than it would have been in previous splits, I think. But at the same time, you got to at least give 1 week mercy where it's like, all right, look, we get it. It's new. It's a new system. But at the same time, how new is the system, right?
Yeah.
Because that kind of leads us into our other, kind of getting out of ourselves here, kind of leads us into our other discussion about everything looking relatively similar from TSM because almost all of the coaching staff, a lot of the personnel above the player level haven't really changed. And so, how much of that is to be expected?
Yeah. Well, I guess let's kind of break it player by player, at least for the IMT game. We already kind of talked about BB really struggling. Dardoch's debut was supposed to be like the heroism. I love that he pulled out the Lee Sin and the really aggressive jungle.
I really liked it, yeah.
I just wish that they had something better to do with it.
Yeah.
Because they just didn't do anything with it.
It felt pretty disjointed, just like the Rumble.
Yeah, absolutely. Bjergsen did not pop off on LeBlanc. which was weird because that's an
Normally,
assassin.
normally
Yeah,
something he does.
that's
But
his thing.
it looked pretty
But
weak, man. His LeBlanc did not
yeah, it
look
did.
great. There were a lot of mistakes, and I don't know how many times in a row. Like what I think we need to do for Bjergsen more than anything else, more than a new coach, more than every single boot camp in Korea will ever do. Get this man a personal physician because he is
Hmm.
sick so goddamn often. We need to get
He
his
is so
immune
sick all the
system
time.
up, man.
I
We need to get
know.
his
I
immune
know.
system up because
We need to send him
allegedly
to China, and if he comes out alive, he'll be stronger than ever.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Dude, the company I work for has shut down their like China office for now. They're just like nobody in or out. If you have been
Yeah.
to China within the past month, you're working from home.
Yeah.
It's
That's how
wild, man.
LPL is.
Yeah.
LPL totally shut down.
Yeah,
It's just
it's
crazy.
wild, man.
Yeah.
Pandemic
Yeah.
incarnate.
No, he's sick all the time. It really
Yeah, I know.
it just seems like he's always sick. So that's what he says, is that he was sick, and that is. I mean, I'm more willing to have forgiven a 1-1 than
Yeah,
I am an
yeah.
0-2, especially since one of our teams that we were playing was Liquid, and even though they don't have their jungler, Liquid everywhere else is the exact same, and they're an incredibly strong team. So if we were to drop a game, it would make sense that we drop it to Liquid. Immortals is a brand new team with a lot of really mediocre players on it.
Well,
I
are
mean,
they brand new? It's a lot of the people from is it Optic?
well, they have SOAS and they have Alltech and they
Sure.
have Ika
Sure.
and Xmithy and why am I blanking out on who they're?
Turtle, right?
What are they? Oh, it's Hakuho
Oh,
for
yeah, yeah,
their
yeah.
support.
Yeah.
So they have the same coaching staff as Optic. It's Sabatine as their coach.
So yeah, that's
But
what I'm. That's I guess what I'm saying. So it's not like
yeah, I mean,
you can kind of get a feel for how the team's gonna get on, especially early on in the split where you just have to get something up and running.
yeah.
As a
Well,
as a new team.
SOAS and Xmithy are really the only ones that have ever been considered some of the tops in their role in their region.
Mm.
I mean, SOAS was a top tier top laner in his prime and is still a
Was
good top laner.
was
Yeah, yeah, he's not nearly as good as he was, but he's still good, especially when you look at Whippo on Fnatic and you say,
sure.
why the hell did they let SOAS go when this guy just ints every game? And then Xmithy is still a really strong, intelligent jungler, if nothing else.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's always been one of his stronger suits. Like there was a time where we were like, oh, we got to watch out for mechanics of Smithy, but nowadays it's like he's just been around for so long. He's one of the few people that can actually hang around in the jungle for season after season with how often it changes.
Well, he took what 3 teams to finals in NA. Like it's
it's
crazy.
Unreal, dude. It's ridiculous how well he performs.
So that doesn't surprise me. But the fact that we have a completely rookie mid laner, and then we have a really Altec has been out of the league for a reason. He has never played higher than mediocre. He just hasn't. Like he's almost like a turtle where he's good, but his ceiling is just so low. Like he's not going to get much better. And Hakuho's kind of the same thing, where he's good and like the games that he's on, he's really on, but for the most part, his ceiling is just not very high. So it's really not a team that we should have lost to. It's not a team that we should have dropped anything to. But I definitely think that our draft was not good. I think somebody had mentioned Jarvan instead of Lee Sin, and I think that might have been better to combo with the Rumble and the LeBlanc. I don't get why people play Senna. I don't like her. I like playing her, but I don't like watching her.
She's a fun champion.
She's so fun, but she's not fun to watch, and she just doesn't feel super impactful all the time.
Oh yeah, completely agree.
Yeah, then you see somebody pick up like Xayah, and you're like, why the hell am I playing a support ADC when I could be doing like big dick
just
DPS?
Disgusting amount of damage. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean,
so I don't know, but whatever. That's the meta right now. So I'm glad that we kind of rolled with the meta, but if it's not gonna get us the W, then what's the point? Dude, and I think that we've always. No, go ahead.
If there's one thing that you can count on TSM to do at any given point. It's roll with the meta. Like,
And that's what I was gonna say is we keep doing that where we just like go with meta picks instead of doing like the G2 thing, which just is pick whatever we feel is comfortable and what is good, and then let the skill show through.
Exactly, and
like just
the success
do that.
The success of that team speaks for itself. You know, it's like,
oh my gosh. I mean, the team has literally played Pyke in every single role. Every single member of that team has played Pyke at a different point in time.
Well, I mean, Pyke
and
is
it,
like
it
one
works.
of the most broken champions to ever be introduced to
That's
the
true.
game.
Super versatile. But still, it just that speaks to itself. It's just you got to play what's comfortable and what you think is good, so that you get the success instead of like forcing yourself to like fall into the meta. And that's to bring it on like a way higher level. That's Korea was building the meta, China was breaking the meta, and so that's kind of why the two of them were sitting and still are sitting on top. Europe only recently, maybe like last year, started breaking. Well, maybe the year before, started breaking the meta themselves. And we had the Worlds 2018 run where all of a sudden teams like Vitality are playing like Echo mid out of nowhere. It's like, this isn't meta, this isn't good, but you're winning because nobody knows what to do against it because you're comfortable in it. Exactly. So it just kind of sparked a whole new thing, and now EU is like a top 2 region, and yet NA still tries to meta slave every single year, and I don't get it. I don't know why we're doing it. Dude, and we just like look at other regions and try and copycat, and it just doesn't work.
It doesn't make for terribly interesting gameplay to watch either, you know?
Oh no. Not at all.
It's part of the fun of watching EU is seeing some of that like random off meta pick where you're like, oh my god, it's happening, and then
where somebody just picks Garen mid and you're like, okay, right, well, I guess we're going with that.
I guess it's Garen mid this game. All right.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Exactly. I don't know what else to say in that regard.
I don't either. I do have to say though, I think that our drafting in the second game was better. I think that it was a lot better. It was still within the confines of the meta, but it seemed to be a little more comfortable for almost everybody. BB still did not play a great Gangplank, so I don't know if he's just not on comforts again. But it's starting to feel like, and you know that I've been a huge Broken Blade fan for like since he came on board.
Oh, absolutely.
But it's starting to feel like unless he's in his very bruiser meta and given very specific champs, then he's not doing well. Like he's not a well-rounded top laner. And that's not a particularly good sign. So I don't know, but when he got stuck on Aatrox like all of last split and just inted miserably for most of them, he just had horrible games.
Dude, it was rough to watch. At least he wasn't on Aatrox.
So bad.
At least they didn't put him on Aatrox.
Right.
At least they didn't put him on Aatrox.
Then they're putting him on new things, but the new things, he's not showcasing the talent that we know that he has. So I don't know if it's the picks or if it's just he's not maybe not as well-rounded. Yeah, maybe he's not putting in the time. Maybe he's just not as well-rounded as we originally believed him to be. But it's a concern for me, honestly. I wanted so hard to just like keep dick riding because I love BB's personality and I love watching like his individual gameplay on champions he's so comfortable with. Like his Aurelia is insane, his Riven is so good, his Camille is really good, his Fiora is really good, things like that. But watching him in like a professional environment with a professional team trying to fill a role that the team needs, it's just lacking.
Well, and here's the thing, Camille is a pretty consistent ban still, if I'm not mistaken, yeah? So it's like, it's not like that's something that is out of the question.
Totally off the table.
Should it ever slip through, you know?
Right. Yeah. No, but again, it goes back to you can play whatever you want to play as long as you're going to be good at it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's you just have to outclass your opponent on individual skill. You can play whatever you want to play. You can play Teemo top, and if you're better than the other top laner, you can probably at least go even in that matchup.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
especially if you're using the BMO skin.
You have to use the BMO skin. And then of course the enemy top laner plays Beekeeper Singed, and it's just a whole a whole hive up in
I
the top
never
lane.
even I never even considered.
It's the
That's
Galaxy
beautiful.
Brain
That's
play.
Galaxy Brain singed plays. Every singed thinks they're Galaxy Brain though.
Yeah,
Dude,
yeah,
I
they do.
played a couple games with do you remember a while back? This was a long time ago. There was that whole debacle about the dude who had over 1,000 games of Smite support singed.
Yes, and
And they like
then
tried to get him
Riot was
banned and
like,
everything. Yeah.
yeah, Riot was like, it's intention. They said it was trolling, and then they
Yeah,
said
and they
it
said it
wasn't
wasn't. Yeah,
trolling.
because he had like a
Yeah,
pretty decent win rate on it. So
yeah,
I'm pretty sure he's still on my friends list. I played a bunch of games with him a while back.
that's
It was a
awesome.
lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
That's really funny.
Yeah. So
That's hilarious.
off meta picks, man. If you're good at them, very clearly,
Yeah,
it's
just
capable.
gotta roll with it.
It's
Or
capable
even
of
if
panning
they're
out. Yeah.
slightly off meta, like they don't have to be totally off. You don't have to pick
Yeah.
something that's
Yeah.
bad. Just pick something that's kind of whatever.
Exactly.
But I liked the second game a lot more. I thought the Zillion pick was interesting, and I was okay with it, but we needed a bit more of an all in. If you're gonna do Zillion, it's
Dude,
usually because you're a support mid laner with like a Gnar or a Jarvan. You know what I mean? Like you're going
yeah.
hard. Like your other laners have to go hard and deep and go
Yeah,
in. And I
especially
guess
with yeah. No, go ahead.
no, go. What were you gonna
Well,
say?
especially with when we saw back in the day when we had the Haunter double lift lineup. Haunter
Yeah.
would go on Gnar, and then you'd play
Yep.
Zillion in the mid lane, and it would be
Yep.
disgusting. It would be absolutely
Oh yeah.
disgusting. Yeah.
Yeah. You just
So
follow the Gnar, and that's all that you
exactly,
do. And then
exactly.
you by the time they take down the Gnar and then the Gnar comes back up, half the enemy team's already like dead.
Yeah. Uh huh.
So that's what you got to do if you're going to play the mid Zillion. They hovered the Zed for so long, and I thought he was going to do it.
I was hoping, man.
I thought he was going to do
I
it.
was hoping so much, dude. I have fond memories of the Bjergsen Zed, but at the same time,
I don't know how well it would have played out against this team.
it would have been more interesting to watch. It would have been
it
a
would have
more
been a
fun
lot more
game. Would
interesting
have given
to
us more hope. I don't know.
I wish that he had done that. But yeah, I'm okay with the Zillion pick. It wasn't the best, but it seemed kind of in that vein of like it's not meta, but it's a comfort pick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
sure.
it's a little closer to that, so I'm okay with that.
Yeah, it's something that he had, shown a bunch of success on already, and
Yep. Yeah.
this, that, and the other.
Yeah,
So
I just wish that we were able to actually translate our early game successes because both games we were like dominating early.
Yes, we were destroying.
And there's like a 20-minute span of like we get 0 kills, we have 0 map pressure, and all of a sudden the score is even and they're pushing our base, and it's just I don't know.
You're absolutely right. And that comes down, unfortunately, to I believe a coaching thing.
I agree.
Where
I agree.
our early game's looking great. That's amazing. But what are we gonna do once we have a lead past 15 minutes in the game? You got to transition these things into a more comfortable, secure lead, and then eventually a win. And that's something that TSM hasn't been able to do for years now at this point.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate saying it's been years.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
We're getting close to the point where we've spent just as much time being the number 1 team as we have being a mid-tier team.
Yeah, exactly. And that is not amazing. It's not amazing
not
to feel.
good.
But
not fun.
But at the same time, I think a lot of that can be traced back to the lack of a shakeup in the coaching staff and lack of a shakeup at especially head coach position. But it also kind of harkens back to what we were talking about in one of the previous episodes: is who would you have even gone with?
Yeah.
Who would you have even picked? In that situation. So.
Yeah. No, it's. I don't know. I guess it's kind of a catch-22 because it's
classic.
There's really not. Yeah, there's really not like an A grade coach that you can pick up, and so you either have to just take like a total chance on somebody who's unproven and hope that they like rebirth their way to the top, or but or you do what we've done and keep trying to go for like top tier talent, and it just doesn't pan out. So I don't know, but it's weird to see a team that has so much experience not able to translate a mid game because it's, I mean, especially Bjergsen, Darda, Kabe
Yeah, I mean, add
are
up the
way
years of experience in the
experienced.
league. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, it's over 200 years of experience.
200 years of experience. It's
uh, yeah, it's just I don't know. I don't understand how a team like that's not able to translate, especially like if you have like your shot callers being Dardoch and Bjergsen or one of the two of them.
mhm.
I don't know. I really don't understand it, but
Yeah, and I remember very vividly the casters mentioning kind of mentioning something. I think it was either before the game or right in the early game about TSM that made me like worry really hard, and that was the fact that they said something to the effect of they had to sit down with Bjergsen or whoever on the team. I'm pretty confident it was Bjergsen. And they said something to the effect of, we've been listening to outside sources too much, and we've been listening to other people too much. We know what we need to do. We know what we're, capable of, and this, that, and the other. And, oh, boy, howdy, that terrifies me. Because it super
that
doesn't
makes me
seem like
nervous.
it. Because it super
Yeah,
doesn't
no.
seem like it. So...
Well, so I guess really the big hope that we have is that they either start turning it around and we end spring okay and come into summer strong,
Yeah.
or it happens like 2016 where spring was just like horrendous. That was really awful. And then we just changed a single person on the roster and it suddenly became the best roster that TSM has ever pumped out.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
it's possible that something like that could happen is in between spring and summer we just pick up one new person, we change one position, we could even just change head coach, assistant coach, like one thing could happen that could change the whole dynamic of it. But I would be very surprised if we have consistent results like this if we see Parth still be general manager. I
Yeah, he
just I
just... I don't think
he
it's the
can't
right
keep
move.
getting away with
He
it.
can't keep getting away with it. Yeah, I just don't think
So
that's the move. And
yeah,
I mean,
I
Parth
yeah.
is, we've always given him credit as an analyst. We've
Hmm.
always given him credit for, not super bungling stuff early on in his head coaching
No, he did well.
position.
Yeah, he did well.
Um, but at the same time, boy, howdy, some of these decisions are just not. Yeah, where's the buck stopping?
Yeah,
Where does the
yeah,
buck stop? And it can't be Reggie because it's his team, so he
yeah.
can just kind of Jerry Jones his way around that. But, uh, I don't know. I like Parth, but I don't think that he's the move in terms of general manager.
I don't think that he would. I mean, he might leave TSM, but I don't think he'll be removed from TSM. He'll just be given some other
Some
new
other
bullshit title
role, yeah, and I
that'll
mean,
have to do with like other non-League of Legends stuff, and then they'll
yeah,
put somebody.
perhaps more of like a business side or something like that. Which
Yeah,
actually reminds me of something we can talk about later about the structure of esports teams, but that's later on. But yeah, I don't know. I wonder if Locodoco's looking for work. At this point, we need any.
Wow, that's some
All I'm
desperation.
saying is we got the worlds with the man.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did. That's
So
true.
it's like,
Well, what we really need is Weldon.
look, don't
Bring
tell
back
me
Weldon.
things that I've been saying for years. Because God damn it, I love that man.
I know.
He
I
is
know.
the key to TSM's success and always
I
has been
know.
for the last
And
however long. It's been
it's not in
him.
a coaching role because CLG is not. I mean, they did well this weekend, but last year CLG did not do well with him as head coach. But we
No,
just need
no.
him as our player coach again.
Exactly. Because
Yeah,
he's so damn good at it.
I know.
It's like
I actually think this Dave guy is pretty okay. Like
Who?
the guy we've seen in TSM Legends. He's like a bald dude. He looks kind of like
I
Daughtry.
am gonna be
Um,
completely honest with you. I haven't been watching
oh
TSM
man.
Legends.
But yeah,
I'm a
so
bad
that's
fan.
basically that's basically who replaced Weldon, and I think he's been doing an okay job. He just doesn't have the magic. He's just
He doesn't have
missing.
that like Rasputin vibe
Yes,
of Weldon. It's
yes,
honestly what it is. He's
yeah,
just like,
yeah,
everything he touches turns to fucking gold, man. It's unbelievable.
yeah,
So
absolutely. That's funny. But yeah,
That's the way
so
I've
I don't
always
know.
viewed them.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that the results turn around. I'm hoping that um, things kind of fall more into place. I don't know if that means if they're so insistent on keeping the Zhang, then we need to look at new analysts. We need to look. You know what I mean? Like we just need to change,
Yeah.
and
Do we
then
have draft specialists
we've
on our
had
roster?
analysts
Like,
for years.
well, I know we've had analysts, but I mean
I
specifically draft
I
analysts
don't
because
I don't think so.
because
And I think
damn.
drafting has always been a problem because
Exactly.
there's always
Yeah.
been like a disconnect between like who should be in charge of the draft. Should it be the coach or should it be the players?
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
I think we've always kind of had that back and forth where like Bjergsen was calling the shots for a little bit of like, this is what I want to play and this is what I think would be good. And so they were kind of like, I just have to assume because I don't know for sure, like opening up a pool and saying like, hey, here are some of our options. What do you think would be good? To they changed it where it's like, all right, ban this. Okay, pick this. All right, you know what I mean? Like really structuring it out.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course they're consulting with the players to be like, hey, like this is what we want to do. What are your thoughts? But it's very like, do this
It's very
way.
prescribed. Yeah. Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Is how it seems. Again, we
Yeah.
aren't backstage, so we don't know. We don't have the headphones on.
Or
But
do we? No, we don't.
no. We have headphones on, but
We have
not
headphones
those.
on right now, but I wish. Oh boy, howdy to
Yeah.
be a fly on the
I
wall,
know.
man. To be a fly on the wall during those conversations.
I know. But that's you don't want that because the worst nightmare is everything seems like it should be and it's still not fucking working.
Oh,
That's the
that would be
nightmare.
that would
That's the
be
nightmare.
terrible.
You wanna listen to it because you want something to be so obviously wrong,
Yeah,
and
like
you'd be
like
like,
it's
well,
clearly
that's it.
this. Yeah, exactly.
That's it. But then that's the nightmare is you listen to it and you're that fly and you see that everything is how you thought that it should be and it just still isn't fucking working.
Exactly.
So I don't know.
Oh,
But I want to keep hoping. And the team themselves, based on like their Twitters, and I know that they always have to be like, "We'll do better, we'll pick it up," but everybody seems
yeah.
to be a little more confident in the fact that they'll pick up, as opposed to like, "Really sorry, you
Sure.
know, we
Sure.
let everybody down," kind of a thing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
I know,
I'm
hopefully.
hoping.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you and me
it's
both, dude.
we have to keep hoping.
That's all. Rebellions are built on hope, right? Isn't
That's
that
right.
from that Rogue
That's
One?
right.
That's Rogue One.
Yeah, it is. It is Rogue One.
God, I love that movie.
It's really not a
God,
bad movie.
love that
It's not a
movie
bad
so
movie.
much. For my money, it's one of the best Star Wars films, if not the best.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
All
it's a
right.
hot take right there. You can
That is a hot take.
at download some RAM on Twitter if you want to fucking talk about it.
Yeah, let's hold on with that
Um,
hot take because that's we were talking about trying not to get downvoted and thumbs down to hell, and you're really not helping me out here.
He's like, I'm trying to salvage this damn podcast. Um, but yeah, I think that's a
Yeah,
good place to kind of let that rest.
agreed. There's
But
really not much more other than just being salty and harping on the same old, same old. We just
exactly,
have to
it did feel
hope
very
for better
samey.
drafts and better
Exactly.
synergy. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, it felt very samey. So let's hope that it doesn't
I
continue that way.
completely agree.
Yeah.
So we got a couple of other things to talk about. I guess I can slide this in between our two, things, or between our TSM discussion and the thing I wanted to make fun of. But I was, I don't know what sparked this feeling that I had, but back when I was in high school, right? They had this, and they have this at most high schools. This group called like the Future Business Leaders of America or something like that, right? Or it's some like student, it's like some student run organization for students who are trying to become leaders or whatever.
Yeah. They still have those. It varies city
do,
to city.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But you get the concept. And I don't know why it crossed my mind not too long ago, but it feels to me, at least from what I've seen via interactions on Twitter and via interviews and things like that, that the esports, the League of Legends esports scene, I can't vouch for all other esports. It certainly seems to be different in organizations like Counter-Strike teams and stuff like that. But a lot of the League of Legends management and business side of the companies seem just like a slightly more mature version of like the high school student-led organization, and it really like terrifies me almost.
Yeah, it very much feels like a young startup that's still in its teens. Like it feels like it feels like we started super like unprofessional, not even professional, and then we started like putting suits on monkeys. You know what I mean? Like just we started to
that's kind of what it feels like.
In an effort to make it feel more professional, we just like put the face on.
That's exactly, dude. That is exactly what it feels like. I completely
and
agree.
it's moving more and more towards legitimacy, but we're still not there yet. I agree,
dude. Absolutely, especially, ladies and gentlemen. One of the things that kickstarted me thinking about this is the decision handed down from the CEO herself of FlyQuest. It's TreeQuest, everybody, and their new jerseys. Let's discuss that for a moment. Would you like to?
Well, all I can say is that my grandmother wants her tablecloths back.
Dude, I have fine china at my parents' house. It looks exactly like that. It looks exactly like that shit, man. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. It's a bold. And by bold I mean bad decision.
They're both B words. There you go.
Yeah, we've seen some bold choices from teams like the CLG pulling out the USA stuff, and we've had other teams.
Fire though; those jerseys were fire.
That was.
I like those.
And, well, that's what I'm saying is we've had some teams pull out some really bold decisions and then be like, for a cause. Like we've seen the rainbow pins thrown on there. I think somebody had a rainbow pattern on their jersey for like Pride Month. I think.
Are you serious?
I think so. I can't remember who it was, but so we've had bold jersey decisions that have not always been like cool gamer look, and that's okay. I'm okay with that. I'm all right with that. I'm all right for sticking up for causes and doing stuff like that. But if you're literally just gonna copy and paste clip art from Microsoft Word and put it on a white shirt, I'm not okay with that.
Now, granted, this may be because I played traditional sports throughout high school and college, but I don't know where this push is coming from. I've seen a lot of comments on Twitter and on Reddit saying something to the effect of, man, I'm so glad we're not trying to duplicate traditional sports jerseys anymore. And I don't know where that sentiment comes from, because I think that it's a very good model to follow, especially in terms of uniforms. And if you're going to model, your jerseys after something like a soccer team, or something like that,
which is what these are.
It's exactly what they are, because they're the only like short sleeve jerseys that exist in the major professional sports.
I mean, you could do football jerseys, but
those don't really. Those are pads and everything. I would love to see Bjergsen come out in like full pads with a helmet on. That'd be hilarious. But
that would be awesome.
But yeah, I don't know. I just think that. I don't know. You can get into behavioral studies, right? And you can get into, they've done a lot of research into the aggressiveness of, a jersey or a team's logo or identity and the actual aggression and performance of their players, right? There's been extensive studies in traditional sports about that. And, obviously, traditional sports and esports, it's not going to translate perfectly, but it is going to translate somewhat. I'm a firm believer in that. And so I think that not only, how did they do this? Did they win it all? Did they go 1-1 or?
For FlyQuest, they did really well. They did really well.
All right, so it's entirely possible.
They had a good weekend.
It's entirely possible I'm talking out of my ass then.
But
but I think that once you get into pressure situations, maybe there might be some noticeable psychological effect by wearing a Tide detergent. It looks like a lavender scented like advertisement. You know what I'm saying?
It does. It
Um,
does. And that's again, I don't mind bold. I don't mind it being unique and being different.
sure,
It
yeah,
just
live your
they
life,
don't
but
have to be ugly. They don't have to. You don't have to be ugly to make a statement.
I
Like I'm okay
completely
with
agree,
just don't be stupid. Don't
dude.
make
I'm with you, man.
dumb jerseys. So bad.
Oh my god.
I don't know.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think other than that, do you have anything else that you wanted to bring up? Do you have anything else you wanted to talk about, or?
No. I mean, I kind of already talked about the meta and how I don't
Yeah.
really like it this year. Which I think it's worse because it's such a disappointment from last year, where it was
Yeah.
literally anything goes, and I love that
Yeah.
meta
It was awesome.
because oh my gosh, the pool for every role was huge.
It
It
was
was like
insane.
10 to
Yeah.
15 available
It
champions.
was insane.
It was nuts. It was so fun. So it's not the case anymore. We see Senna, Felios every bot lane, and then if it's not them, then we just see like Misfortune, and then you have your randos. Yeah, it just so I'm a little over it, but I guess maybe it'll change once Aphelios gets really nerfed and Senna gets obviously nerfed. Like they're gonna just nerf her.
Yeah.
Um, but maybe we'll see some more good variety in the meta.
I guess.
But that's what I like, and that makes it more fun to watch. It was tough to watch the opening weekend of LCS.
Yeah,
It was
it
kind of tough for
was.
LEC too. I know
Was it
you don't
really?
watch
No, I
LEC,
don't
but
watch
yeah,
LEC much.
it was the same meta, and it was just like it felt like the same thing every game.
Yeah.
Like if you're not getting Jarvan, you're not really winning, and it's just
Yeah.
eh.
You are not kidding. Yeah,
Yeah, and
it's
I don't like that. So
yeah, I completely agree, man. Well, I
that's
think
pretty much it.
that's a good spot to call it on. Other than that, I have a little guess what came the other day for me? A ba-bam. It's the PAX East
Oh,
badges,
the
homie. Are
PAX
you going this year?
East. I'm not going this year.
Oh, that's tragic, Keith.
I know.
How could
I
you do
know.
that to me?
Next year is when I'm going,
Next
and
year's
then
when you're
from then
going?
on, it's going to be every other.
All
Yeah.
right.
Yep.
Well, I'll see you next year then.
Okay. All
Because
right.
I'm absolutely going every year.
Awesome.
Me and the friend group, we're gonna do. This is our third consecutive year of going. If you're gonna be at
That's
PAX
awesome.
East, fucking hit me up at Download Some RAM on Twitter, like I already said. If you want to debate about Rogue One or meet up at PAX East, those are the only two things I talk about on Twitter. The only two things, clearly.
The only. That's it.
Yeah. No, I said. I think I had like the dumbest tweet of all time the other day. I said, I'm pretty confident that if you get coronavirus and Lyme disease at the same time, it just like teleports you to the beach.
Specifically Mexico.
Yeah.
Right. Right there.
Oh God.
That is a really dumb tweet. I
Yeah,
like it
I
though.
know.
It's very clever.
I was more proud of it than I should have been.
Yeah. Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, that is a good spot to end it. Thank you guys for watching. Let us know what you think in the comments section down below, and we'll try and keep doing this every week. You know, even if it's not a full length episode like this, you know, whether if it, you know, we can just get together for 5 minutes real quick and, you know, hammer something out, then we'll do that. But we're gonna aim for every week. But
Aim high.
aim high. Aim high. Prepare for the worst. Hope for the best.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys for watching. This has been Girth, Wind, and Fire, episode 3. Keith, any closing words? Any final thoughts?
Free SM.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.